everyone, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Natasha Martinez, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news in the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us today is Kristian Harloff.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Collider Movie Talk. Very happy to have everyone, this panel. A lot of trailers today. Trailers.
And the guy who's already sick of the trailers, John Schnepp.
Seeing so many trailers, I had to go check out my Kickstarter, Sweaties Unite, just to see how that was going. You should too after you see all this show in Collider.
And also joining us, Mark Ellis.
It's a good old-fashioned trailer park here. Come on down to the rodeo, kids. Woo!
All right, now speaking of trailers, things happen here. Like, there are two new trailers that dropped today that we didn't have in the show notes. The first one was the Ben-Hur remake. John Schnepp and I actually did a trailer reaction / review that'll be up on the channel in just a little bit, but we were going to share our thoughts on the brand new trailer. I saw this thing, and I will tell you that I was very excited to see this trailer, and I didn't mind as much as a lot of people did that this classic film was being remade. I thought, maybe this is one that could do with a remake. It was okay. It just was okay. I mean, there are parts. I think Jack Houston looks really good. I'm a Toby Kebbell fan. I think that their haircuts at one point looked like they were ready to go to the Oscars. I didn't even think they looked like they were from that time. And I think that there was certain times it looked very CGI, and then there were other times I was like, okay, this could actually be something special. But I wanted to be wowed by this trailer. Instead, I kind of went, How'd you feel?
Yeah, right before we did the trailer reaction, we were both talking about it. I was like, well, let's check out the chariot race scene, because it's got to compare to that, and it's got to actually beat it in many ways. Yeah, I was kind of like, it was like, it's like 300 meets, some sloppy soap opera, TV shows. It had a very TV vibe to it, the way the shot selections, it just felt like,
This fall on epics.
Yeah, it's like, and everybody looked too coiffed, and like, Morgan Freeman's dreads were perfect. It's like, come on, man, it's like everybody had their pancake makeup on. It just felt a little too polished for me and too TV-ish. Like the shot selection, nothing was epic about it. I thought a couple of the shots of the chariot race that they did show us seemed kind of cool, but then it went back to the stock footage. Some little dude jumping with a sword, like from 300 and every other movie we've seen. So.
But how many times in life do you get to say that Morgan Freeman's dreadlocks look too perfect? Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Did it remind you of Robin Hood?
It totally reminded me of Robin Hood. It totally reminded me of when you're in a theater and there's a serious trailer that airs before the movie you're going to see, and it elicits laughs unintentionally. Yeah. Those are going to get laughs. Like, I'm sure it's fine in the movie, but just an audience seeing Morgan Freeman with dreadlocks unexpectedly, you're going to be laughing, and that's fine, because this trailer actually impressed me somewhat, particularly the opening scene with them rowing, and then you have this big like wreck and all this stuff on the water. I thought looked really good and didn't look too CGI for me, because the issue I've had with all these swords and sandals epics recently is that they don't have the budget to carry out the mission they're trying to accomplish, where it's gonna look fake after a while. I thought the effects in this trailer throughout were pretty good, particularly that opening scene. And you guys are right, the chariot race is something that I was really looking forward to. I was really nervous about, because I'll be honest, I don't have high expectations for this movie. So going in with that as my mindset, this trailer, I thought it was pretty good, actually.
Okay, see, because I thought the chariot, I think we're all in agreement that the chariot race looked cool for the most part. Yeah. I didn't like the boat stuff at all in the beginning. I thought it looked like almost like they were trying to do 300 or something too.
I did like the POV Ben-Hur shot where it's like, you're being chained out.
That was kind of cool, but it just seemed like, oh, we're watching a movie. We're not really there. Like, you can focus more on the story with this film. You don't have to go so heavy on the special effects. Like, I get it that this is going to be a big epic movie, but you can do a big epic movie and not just go so heavy on the CGI when it's so noticeable. Right. There are a lot of movies that are heavy on CGI, but you don't notice it. And like you say all the time, that's when the best CGI is done, when you don't even realize, you don't even know that it's there. It is so in your face. I thought the boat scene was so over CGI.
Yeah, I was less upset with the effects. I thought they were cool, but the jump cuttiness of the entire thing was just boom, boom, boom. It felt a little stilted after a while, where I'm like, hey guys, let's focus on something.
I would like to retitle it Ben-Hur, subtitled Perfect Dreads.
Perfect Dreads. The next trailer that hit right after that, or actually it was earlier, was the new Central Intelligence trailer starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart. This was, I believe, it was like the second trailer, because there was some kind of teaser. Yeah. It started out similar to how the first one started. Schnepp, what did you think of this trailer?
I actually liked it. I thought the first time that I saw their first trailer of this, it was like, it felt a little uneven. And they had that scene where he's like, I got a thing that we're going to do. Don't do it. And they jump through the window. But this time it actually felt a little better because they played it out and they let you know who these characters are. They knew each other in high school, and kind of the roles are flipped now. Like the famous, more popular guy in high school is kind of not a popular guy. The guy who was like laughed at is now this like giant, hulkish dude. But I love the portrayal that Dwayne did. He was incredibly funny. Like he just shined out.
It took a cue from Pitch Perfect and might have taken it to the next level. Not Pitch Perfect though, Just Friends. That's what I was thinking of with Ryan Reynolds in the suit. And it's like, actually it was Pitch Perfect because he's singing in the shower at the beginning. And I was laughing when Schnepp and I filmed our reaction. It was funny because I looked at it and it was like I look like Kevin Hart and Schnepp looks like The Rock. Like we're two differently proportioned individuals. So it would be like if we were like buddy cops, or in this case in the CIA. And so the trailer made me laugh throughout. Like I think when Kevin Hart isn't trying so hard to make us laugh, that's when he shines. And that's the tone I got from this movie, as opposed to something like Ride Along, where it's like every scene they're just like tapping on that udder and it's just all out of milk. Like this one, I believe there's plenty of milk left in this cow.
Yeah. I did enjoy this trailer, and I'll tell you, for those reasons that it doesn't look like Kevin Hart's trying to be the funny guy in this one. He's going to have his moments for sure. That's what he does. But it looks like they're saying, no, we're going to let The Rock do the comedy, because it is totally comedy heavy on The Rock in this movie. So in this trailer so far. And I wasn't sure. I thought that and maybe I just don't remember the first trailer, but I thought that I took away from the first trailer that he was actually kind of like the bully. And then later on, they kind of made up. But it's cool to see that flip. And it's not only is it, what's you guys said Pitch Perfect, what was the other reference?
Just Friends.
Just Friends is also kind of combined with 21 Jump Street, because it seems like it's very similar to the relationship that those two had, because they did spin it in 21 Jump Street also, to where when they go back to high school, what you thought was cool isn't anymore, and what you thought was geek is now cool. And to see what The Rock is doing now, I don't know. I liked this trailer. I think that it could either be one of those things that all the comedy moments are in the trailer that we saw, or it could actually be a funny movie. So.
I feel like it's going to be a funny movie. Like what you said, Mark, is like having Kevin Hart play the straight man. Is perfect, because he's funny either way. But when he's the like funny guy, it's like it's almost too much. When he's complaining and being like, no, let's not do that. When he's being more of the straight man, letting The Rock be the goofball, like doing that dumb face when they're driving, it just made me laugh, because that's been in him the whole time, ever since wrestling. He's got that comedic timing and those chops. I can't wait to see him let loose. I want to see more goofiness.
It's a little like the other guys too. Where it's like you have the comedy star and the action star, and the roles are kind of reversed. And I really like the other guys, so hopefully it's the same one for this.
Okay, let's get to our first official topic.
Okay, according to a report from The Hollywood Reporter, the search for the actor to play young Han Solo in the Disney Lucasfilm Star Wars story has been narrowed down to 3 actors: Hail Caesar's Alden Ehrenreich, Transformers Age of Extinction's Jack Reynor, and the Kingsman's Taron Egerton. While Disney refused to comment, sources at both The Hollywood Reporter and Variety say that there still might be as many as 3 more names on the list testing for directors Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Kristian, thoughts on these names for young Han Solo?
Okay, now we discussed this yesterday on the show, because while we were talking, the chat board blew up and told us that you guys actually broke the story to us, and we talked about it. But a couple of the new details inside of this was that, to me, what stood out was that Disney's not commenting on it. They're not saying, no, this isn't true, this is completely false. They're not commenting on it. So someone's getting the right information. It's coming from Variety and Hollywood Reporter. So I tend to believe that, and these were the names that have been floated around for a while. You guys know who I'm pulling for Taron Egerton. I think that he's the right fit. I actually think all 3 of these names could be interesting. And another guy that's been floating out there, but he's just too old for the role, I think, is Garrett Hedlund. He was just recently in Hook, which we're not Hook, Pan, which we're not going to hold.
I missed that one.
I missed that one too.
Well, the whole time he's kind of just talking like this, and it's like you can't hold that against him.
Jack Nicholson.
That's what it was. It was like a mixture of Nicholson and
like
Christian
Nolte.
Slater. It was there was a lot of it. It's like, hey, do you know how I'm going to get that hook on my hand? You'll find out in the sequel. No, you won't. But anyway, so you have it was panned by everybody. But you have these guys, and then. But the big thing also, there's going to be more names, or there are more names on there. Interesting. Now, the question is, are they names that we haven't heard before? Are they names that are the names that have been? They've kind of been recycled. Is a Dave Franco on that list?
Right.
Because you heard that. There are a bunch of different names that could pop up.
What about Gary Oldman?
Oh, poor Gary Oldman.
I would see it if he was playing a young Han Solo.
passed
He's
away.
amazing.
He's gone. He left.
Gary
No,
Oldman?
he's
Oh, I
alive.
thought you said Gary Coleman.
No. Jesus
I was like,
Christ.
wait a minute.
You're going to give me a heart attack. Gary
oh my
Oldman
God.
died? When did this
Gary
happen?
Coleman.
No.
I don't know who I'd rather see play.
Now
That's
that you
a
mentioned
moment.
Gary
Han Solo.
Let's write
Coleman.
that moment down. Mark, out of these names, Manuel Lewis aside, who would you like to see in
I
this?
was gonna say Webster would be a great choice. Out of these names, I would say, did we get any water on the microphone?
No.
I would say your boy is the best. Taron Egerton, I think, is the right call because I've seen him have the most charisma on screen. Do any of these guys look like they shot Greedo first? Not yet. Not yet. And it's hard for me to accept anybody else being Han Solo. You not only have to have a great story and a great adventure that he's going on, which I do believe can happen, but you got to make me believe somewhat that this is Han Solo. None of these ones, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely the guy. I don't know who the other three names are. I hope they're not sitcom stars from the 80s, but we'll have to wait and see. We had a really funny text exchange last night, you and I did, about, because I thought Ansel Elgort, when the initial names came out, Taron Egerton wasn't on that list. He was one of the other names, so I wasn't aware that I could pick him. So I was like, oh yeah, Ansel Elgort, he's got kind of a young Val Kilmer vibe to him. Apparently, you think that I am not going to think he's the guy anymore after I see Allegiant.
He does not have the gravitas that Han Solo should have, and I mean, I know that the character is completely different, but Egerton plays a different character in Eddie the Eagle, and he still has it. I won't even go into why. We'll talk about it on the review. But and the whole chat room right now is saying, "What you talking about, Harloff?" So I get it.
Allergent, right?
Allergent,
I thought you loved that movie.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you think?
I'm going against you schmoes. I'm saying it's Alden I can't even say his name.
Aaron-
Hail Caesar kid.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Yes.
Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich.
I think.
Alden Ehrenreich, because I saw Hail Caesar, and the only thing that was good about that movie was that guy. And I was like, wow, that guy, he has some really good possibilities. And when his name popped up, it kind of beat out Taron for me a little bit. So I'm still with, I think if either of those guys would be great as Han Solo, and they might as well have recast him as Indiana Jones. Wouldn't that be weird? The young Harrison Ford for this movie is different than this other Disney movie, which is supposed to be him as well. Or, might as well have him in Blade Runner 2. What about Ricky Schroeder? That's all I've got to say.
He's still.
That's what I'm saying. Is just have the same audition, have the Han Solo auditions in the next room to
Bateman.
Indiana Jones.
Get Bateman involved.
Crank everybody in
Get
there,
him
just
in
have
there.
them looking and being like, oh, okay, you for that, you for that. We don't like you in the vest, but can you put on this fedora and a whip and just see how we like that? You can knock all this out in a day.
You're the Wookiee now.
All right. What's next?
The new international trailer for Now You See Me 2 was released this morning. The sequel finds the four horsemen magicians traveling the world performing their Robin Hood-style magic spectacles when the son of Michael Caine's character, played by Daniel Radcliffe, forces them into pulling off their most treacherous heist yet. Along with the trailer comes 4 new posters that pay tribute to the classic magic, featuring the four horsemen. The film stars Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Dave Franco, Woody Harrelson, Lizzie Kaplan, Jay Chu, and Santa Lathan. It opens in theaters on June 10th. Schnepp, what do you think of the new trailer and posters for Now You See Me 2?
I love the posters. They're like right out of the old magician's handbook. Yeah. My uncle was a magician. He was in the in the IBM, the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Oh, that's cool.
That's why I sell this trailer, because none of that magic's real, son. You can't do that kind of stuff. You don't go through a tube and wind up in China, and they're not going to explain it either. I didn't see the first movie. I'm not going to see this one. Maybe when the trilogy comes out, I'll watch all of them on a plane. Forget it.
Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't. I actually enjoyed the first one. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it as much as some people did, but I still don't know why this movie got a sequel. But the end of, I thought the first one was well done. So the way they kind of played it, and I think that's why I wound up enjoying the first movie. But he's right, because the first movie didn't play on this, like, oh, you could go down a tube in a restaurant and then you're in China. Like, there was explanations to kind of why the magic, they were able to do the magic, and that it was kind of all a trick. This is seeming like there's
Morgan
real magic
Freeman
out there?
came from Ben-Hur, shaved his
Yeah, it's
dreadlocks.
true.
He's the villain in this.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy the trailer because it just looks like they're abandoning the first tone. But the posters I really like. I think that exactly for what Schnepp's saying, it looks very kind of old school. It sells the movie for the most part as far as these kind of wacky magicians, the Four Horsemen. But yeah, I don't know what they're going for in the new trailer.
We're going to be on totally different pages here, gentlemen, because the posters I have to sell, not because I don't think they're cool. I think they look awesome, but you're advertising a movie. I have no idea that's a movie coming out. I'm like, oh, should I go see J. Daniel Atlas at the Magic Castle? Like, it doesn't look like a movie that's coming out, so it's not selling me as, oh, I need to go to the theater to see this. But the trailer, I thought was cool, man. Yes, do I think that they can go through a tunnel and go to China? I don't know. How long was the slide? Like, I hate when I see real magic. It freaks me out anyway. It freaks me out. Nothing against your uncle, but magic freaks me out because I want to know how it was done. Like, I would turn into Harrison Ford in that video where Chris Angel's in his kitchen and he just doesn't know how it, like,
get out.
Yeah, so I just look at all the magic like that, but I can understand why people like Schnepp and his uncle would see that trailer, or like if you're in this theater and you see somebody just furiously walk out in the middle of the movie, that's a magician. That might be David Copperfield. It's going to piss them off. But some of the magic looked pretty cool in here. Whether it could actually happen or not, I see the China trick, and I want to see how they explain that, if they even attempt to, in the actual movie. Plus, the addition of Daniel Radcliffe is something that intrigues me.
That was David Blaine.
All right, next.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's David Blaine.
Magnolia Pictures has released the new trailer for director Ben Wheatley's High Rise, starring Tom Hiddleston and Jeremy Irons. Hiddleston plays Dr. Robert Lang, a man seeking quiet and anonymity in his new apartment, who meets a crazy collection of neighbors who aren't too keen to leave him alone. The film also stars Sienna Miller, Luke Evans, Elizabeth Moss, James Purefoy, and Sienna Guillory. It will hit theaters this May 13th. Mark, what do you think of the trailer for High Rise?
Well, Natasha, I had no idea this movie was coming out, that it was a thing, and this might have been my favorite trailers of all the ones we're talking about today. It was so cool the way it set that tone, that creepy, unnerving feel that you get, that I wanted to get from Crimson Peak, another Tom Hiddleston movie. This one, not only him, but Jeremy Irons, man. This is like how you want to see Jeremy Irons. And the rest of the cast, I love the premise of this thing. I can really relate to it, because there's a line in the trailer when they're talking about how I just want to be on the top floor, and I moved to a new apartment last week, and I'm almost on the top floor. I could have gone top floor. I didn't want to pay the extra $400, so now I've got 1 feet, and there's a rhinoceros that lives right above me. So I understand Tom Hiddleston's plight in this movie. I can relate to the character, and this trailer is cool.
Yeah, I think this trailer was really cool, and I think that it actually looks like a role that I really want to see Tom Hiddleston in, this kind of crime, but this mystery, what the hell's going on in this place? I like when they don't give you everything right away. And Jeremy Irons, you put him in there like he's kind of the mind behind it.
Right.
What's going to happen there? The investigation, the allure, this power that this guy's craving. It's going to start almost like a Wolf of Wall Street, I think, where he's kind of this kind of schlub, and then he says, "Well, I got a taste of this, and I'm going to go this way, but it's the wrong path." I loved what I saw, and I really liked. I think Tom Hiddleston's a dude that is just going to break out of just being Loki. I think he's got the Hank Williams thing that's coming out. And this movie, by the way, is also coming out, I believe, a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier on Amazon. I think it is too. So be looking out for this, because this trailer was great. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ben Wheatley, the director. He's done Kill List, which is an incredible horror film. He's one of the contributors from ABCs of Death, a film I contributed on. He did A Field in England, which is a really trippy, weird. It's like all of his films. Sightseers, check out Ben Wheatley. He's a name to be looking for, and now I think he's arrived with High Rise. This looks like a fantastic film. It's an adaptation of J.G. Ballard's book. He's a hard one to adapt. The only other film that I can think of right off the top of my head is Cronenberg did Crash, which is also like a freaky, weird film. So this feels like, to me, it feels like a cool art film / this feels like a real film that you could sink your teeth into. It's got great visuals, a cool, creepy, weird story, a class struggle. The people who live on the lower levels, their lights go out, they have less food. It's like, what is this really going to be about? It's like, where was it set in the weird near future? Right. I'm 100% thousand sold on. I can't wait to see this. Can I see it now?
All right. Well, now it's time for Buy or Sell. You guys are actually going to chime in as well, too, because Natasha is going to read off some more movie stories, and we're going to either buy it or sell it. But you guys have noticed a lot of times when we're talking about buy or selling this, buy, sell, sell. I want to see what the majority of you guys are saying today in the chat room. So when she says buy or sell, please chime in. Natasha, what's first?
A24 has released the new trailer for Green Room, the latest from Blue Ruin director Jeremy Saulnier. In Green Room, Patrick Stewart plays a diabolical club owner who squares off against an unsuspecting but resilient young punk band. Stewart's role as a neo-Nazi leader of a white supremacist group has been earning him rave reviews for the film, which also stars Anton Yelchin and Imogen Poots. The movie will hit theaters this April 29th. Kristian, buy or sell the new trailer for Green Room?
I buy it because I'm curious to see Patrick Stewart being an evil bastard. I kind of want to see him do that. We always, every time we see him, whether it's Professor X or if he's in Star Trek, he's the good guy. He's the guy that makes you feel calm. But this one is the opposite. It's got that creepy independent film. A24 is doing a lot of great things right now. So for me, I'm going to buy this trailer. Schnepp?
Yeah, I buy it too. I loved Blue Ruin. So and then I saw this trailer. This is the second trailer for Green Room. It's just got that suspense. It's like a small film. You obviously the setup is a band gets locked in, bunch of skinheads surround them. Are they going to escape? That's the rest of the film. It looks creepy. It looks tonally like a really good film. I'm interested to see what his next film is going to be called because he had Blue Ruin, and this is Green Room. Is it going to be like Red Reason or what the hell? It's going to have red in the title, is my guess, or yellow. I swear to God. But yeah, I buy this trailer.
The Red Rocker, a Sammy Hagar biopic. What I think it's going to be is, you get to see Patrick Stewart in there, and he looks cool as the neo-Nazi. It's a very different version of a shaved head. I think that the chemistry between Yelkin and Poots, who were really good together in the Fright Night remake, they were both in that.
Right.
And so seeing them here together, this is a kind of a cool premise that it looks like it's not going to be too torture porny, which was what I was fearing going in. It looks like it's going to have a cool story to balance out some of the violence that you will end up getting in a movie like this. So I'm buying this trailer big time.
The majority of you guys are buying this trailer big time as well. I would say I've seen a lot of buys that it looks interesting. It looks something different from Stewart. Someone says it looks like a shit bucket, but there's a lot of people that are saying that the majority, I would say, buy.
Does it look like the stock market when you're looking at it? Like just everybody telling you,
this is kind of why I wanted to do it, because everyone kind of chimes in. I think that the second she says buy or sell, we see what the audience, the opinion.
You brought
is.
up the Wolf of Wall Street. You're pretending you're that guy now.
I just want to see those old guys from Trading Places. Buy! You know?
What's next?
Get Hard director Etan Cohen has been hired to write and direct a remake of the Cannonball Run for Warner Brothers, which the studio recently acquired the film rights to. The movie, based on the original franchise, which revolved around the illegal cross-country race and starred Burt Reynolds, Frank Sinatra, Roger Moore, and Dom DeLuise, has yet to have any cast members signed on. No release date has been set. Schnepp, do you buy or sell a Cannonball Run remake?
God damn it, I buy that old poster, though. That's what I buy.
Yeah.
God damn it. That's either Struzen or Peak. Those guys were masters. I used to love those posters. That's the way posters should be. I'm tired of this Photoshop stuff. Anyway, I buy the idea.
You buy the idea of it?
Yeah, the idea of a remake.
I sell it because of I didn't love Get Hard,
right?
And I don't know if it's just, we've always talked about this is kind of what have you done for me lately, and this was not. That movie was really bad, Get Hard, and I don't think this movie needs to be touched. I don't think well, that's not true. It's not like this classic movie. And if you watch Cannonball Run now, does it hold up?
It's pretty. Yes, it totally does.
To us, because of generations too. That's the thing, though. Anytime a movie's brought up to people who are so in love with like Spaceballs or Caddyshack, even
classic.
To us, yes, but then and I'm not gonna lie here. When we talked about Caddyshack and Schnepp was like
dousing it in flames,
it doesn't hold up, and I'm like, how dare you, sir? To me, it still holds up. I laugh every time. But I was looking at the comments. I was looking at what you guys were saying, and a lot of you guys were agreeing with this character and saying that it doesn't hold up, that you didn't laugh at it too. And I wonder if it's generational. I wonder if Cannonball Run is the same thing. But with this remake, I don't get excited about it. So,
Right.
What do you think?
Cannonball Run is up there with the original Ben-Hur, the Ten Commandments, and Citizen Kane. It's the most fun, stupid movie you could ever watch.
What's that guy? The eel with the pin. Where's everyone going?
I'm selling this idea because I don't have any evidence that it's going to be anywhere close to how much fun the original was. It could be, and I could love it. I don't hate the idea of remaking Cannonball Run, but when all I see is that a big-time studio is now going to do a new Cannonball Run, and we have a director who you're right, not necessarily sold on, a nude director, a naked guy directing this movie.
I buy that.
It kind of scares me. I love how it's like we have yet to any cast members, and nobody's signed on to this movie yet, and then we listed the original cast, and like only one of those people is still alive. So you're not going to have, unfortunately, Frank Sinatra popping into this one unless he's a hologram.
Who's going to play Jack Elam? That's the guy's name with the weird syringe. Like, hey, I'm a doctor. With the weird eyes.
And you guys,
Probably Rob
seriously,
Schneider.
you guys need to go watch Cannonball Run and see. look me in the eye and tell me that is not an enjoyable movie. Caddyshack is an all-time great comedy, as is Spaceballs. Watch your classic movies, kids.
You're a purist, and I appreciate it. All around the board, it is a hard sell from the Collider chat room today. Big sell. Okay, what's next?
Okay, 15 years ago, Anne Hathaway starred as the Crown Princess of Genovia in the Gary Marshall-directed The Princess Diaries, becoming a huge hit, making Anne Hathaway a star. It was quickly followed by The Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement, 2 years later. And thanks to a report from People magazine, Oscar winner Anne Hathaway looks to return to the role that made her famous. Director Gary Marshall went on record for People saying, "I was with Anne Hathaway a couple of weeks ago. It looks like we want to do Princess Diaries 3 in Manhattan. Anne Hathaway is very pregnant, so we have to wait until she has the baby, and I think we're going to do it." Mark, do you buy or sell The Princess Diaries 3 with Academy Award winner Anne Hathaway?
Oh, yeah, because The Princess Diaries, those are classic movies. Yeah, sure, it actually makes sense. I mean, look, it's not going to be my demographic, but there's a lot of people out there that love The Princess Diaries, at least the first one. I don't know if the second one holds up to the first one, but doing it this years later when she's now more, maybe she's in a different role where she's not learning how to be a princess. Maybe she's the queen now. Maybe, can you still call it The Princess Diaries if she's now a queen? Do you call it The Queen Diaries? Are we going to get, there's a lot of question marks surrounding this franchise, but yeah, I do buy the premise. It's going to make money.
I sell it. I don't want. I mean, this is too late, and it's also Gary. I want to see Gary Marshall do something else in a Princess Diary 3. Do Flamingo Kid 2 if you're gonna do something. If you do a sequel or something, it's a good one. But no, I just, it's the same thing. I think we're going back. It was Zoolander 2, and then Dumb and Dumber 2, and then you get this Princess Diaries 3. Who cares? Does anyone care about the Princess Diaries 3? Like, we'll talk to you about it in a second. I'm sure that you,
Natasha, I think. Yeah.
But no, and that's a great point. Is because I'm certainly not going to rush out to see this movie. The audience that it's intended for, Natasha, I'm very curious to why you think that this should happen. Is it just because you're a fan of the first two?
Wait, before she chimes in, let me just say,
yes, please.
I sell it as well. Didn't see the first one, didn't see the second one. Totally not seeing this one either.
Natasha,
Schnepp, you kill me.
There are two cells here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of the nostalgia for me. I loved the first movie, and I did like the second movie with Chris Pine, so I hope he's going to be in this third one, and Julie Andrews as well. And I think Anne Hathaway, her best characters are when she's like that princess girl and everything's nice and fun. So I'm excited to see it. I don't know if it'll be good, but I'm definitely going to see it.
And that's because you're a fan of the franchise.
Yeah.
Though. See, but that's the same thing. Like, there's certain movies out there that I'm a fan of the franchise that if they make another one, I can't wait, but I don't necessarily know if they need to be made.
Yeah, but like nobody out there can criticize Natasha because yesterday we were all talking about Indiana Jones. Like, oh my God, Harrison Ford's going to be back as Indy. Right. So if we're going to buy that and he's going to be like 78 years old when he's Indy, Anne Hathaway in the prime of her career can certainly come back and be the princess and write her stupid diary again.
All right. Okay,
the Queen Diaries.
We have one more?
Nope,
now we're done. That's it. Okay. So now it's time for Rewind, brought to you by our friends over at AMC Theatres. We have movies that were out 10 years ago we're going to talk about, 20 years ago. Natasha, what are some of those movies?
Okay, 10 years ago, V for Vendetta starring Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving, She's the Man starring Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum, and Thank You for Smoking starring Aaron Eckhart and Katie Holmes. And 20 years ago, Executive Decision starring Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal, Ed starring Matt LeBlanc, and Too Much starring Antonio Banderas, Melanie Griffith, and Daryl Hannah.
Well, it's obvious. You look at this list, and there's only one that stands out, and that's Ed.
Woohoo!
Starring Matt LeBlanc.
Monkey movie.
My goodness, what a bomb that was. 20 years ago, this guy's doing Friends, and he can only do a monkey movie with Ed. V for Vendetta, man. I think V for Vendetta is one of those movies that the first time you see it, you're okay, and then the more you watch it, the better it becomes. It was directed by the Wachowskis. I know that some people don't realize that. It's kind of rumored and stuff too, but that movie was directed.
Well, was it them and their guy, their cinematographer Tim Lee?
It was directed by
He's not having it,
he's not going to have it?
I'm telling you. And She's the Man. I know a lot of people that's kind of guilty pleasure for some people too. Thank you for Smoking. Right, that was Reitman's kind of first one out of the gate, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a good movie. The 20 years ago, I know Ellis is going to rave about Executive Decision, so I'll leave that alone. And I have no idea what Too Much is, but Ellis, Go ahead. Rave away.
You know what really stands out to me is Ed, though, because I remember it coming out, and it's one of those movies to this day my brother and I still make fun of when we're texting each other, because, like, you're right, Matt LeBlanc, and it's like they saw the first season of Friends, which was back when Ross had that little pet monkey Marcel, and they're like, guys, I got an idea. What if we take Joey from Friends, and we give him an even bigger monkey, and wait, that monkey's going to play shortstop on a softball team.
Good God.
Go picture. Holy God, that sounds bad. I'm sure the movie holds up just as well as Dunstan Checks In does with sitcom star Jason Alexander. Executive Decision, I think, was a really cool action movie that, for whatever reason, gets a little overlooked when you're talking about the greats from the 90s, because you got Kurt Russell, Steven Seagal, two action heavy hitters, and without giving the movie away, I'm just going to say that their plot lines don't necessarily go where you think they might.
Schnepp, what sticks out?
Definitely not Ed. When you guys were talking about that, all I could think of was like Every Which Way But Loose. Remember that Clint Eastwood one with the
definitely not
goddamn orangutan?
Yeah. That was the Cannonball Run kind of feel.
There was kids. You're lucky you missed out on all this crap where everyone was like, team them up with an animal. There were a lot of fucked up animal human movies that you don't see anymore. This is one of them.
I just love Dan G's comment. What the hell is Ed?
Yeah, that's right. What is an Ed? Yeah, stay far away from it. It's nuclear and it rubs off on you. V for Vendetta is the one for me. I don't care what he says. This guy Lee helped make it. I know it's a Wachowski sisters. They made it with this guy. Whatever you want to say about it, I think it's great. I was a comic nerd and still am, so I read V for Vendetta, Alan Moore, David Lloyd. I couldn't wait when I heard that the Wachowskis were making it, because they had just kicked off the Matrix, and I was like, wow, they're going to do V for Vendetta, or at least produce it. They wrote the screenplay. They were heavily involved in it. I think it's a great adaptation. So V for Vendetta.
But you're telling me that, like, if your baseball team, like, if it's in the toilet in September and you know you're not making the postseason, like, say the Orioles aren't going to make it, you hire a monkey that can actually throw from shortstop, can throw home, and can throw. That's a great gimmick. You're going to sell out the rest of the season.
All right. If you guys have movies that stood out to you, please go ahead and comment. And we are going to hear a little more from you guys right now, because it's time for Mailbag. You guys have submitted your questions over to collidervideo@gmail.com. We're going to read them out. The show's going to be a little short today because we have some special guests coming into the studio a little later on.
Is it Ed? Is it the monkey from Ed?
No, it is not. But we will tell everybody in just a little bit who exactly is coming in. But we have to end the show a little short. But Natasha, what are the emails saying today?
Dominic La Licata writes, "Hey Collider, I am a daily viewer of all things Collider. I was introduced to the brilliant Jamie Costa while watching the celebrity impression dating game. My question is, do you think someone who is so identified by their impressions have a tougher time making the transition to films than other comedians? Do you think the studio would take a chance on him as an actor to create a unique character, or would they be worried he would fall into doing an impression? With Robin Williams, he becomes Robin Williams, but does incredible talent translate into him portraying the real Robin Williams in a movie, for example?"
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. He just says thank you.
All right. No, it's a great question, because I know we're friends with Jamie Costa, and the fact that this dude, he does become these people. There are impressions, and then there are actors or people who, like he just sent me this thing that he did as Kurt Russell. And it's not Jamie Costa anymore. Like, he becomes these people because that he's an actor. Like, when I'm doing, oh, come on, let's do it. That's not acting.
What was Arnold just on? Hey,
Arnold was just here. What happened to Kristian Harloff? Disappeared.
Thank you. But my face does not turn into Arnold. I don't think, like, his face transforms. Now, the question as far as will it be harder for him? I know he went out for like Saturday Night Live, and I think that he got a lot of notice because of that. He didn't make the show, but I think that he should have made the show personally. But then I think that what it is about him getting the opportunities to prove himself as an actor, because he's a very good actor as well too. And it's almost like his ticket in. But I do think it'll be harder for him. Like, let's take Anthony Gruber for example, who does a spot on Harrison Ford, and looks like the guy too. And he got cast in Age of Adeline to do that. Now, again, I think that he is a talented dude. I just don't think he has the chops yet to play Han Solo. So just looking like him and doing an impression of him doesn't really help. I don't think it necessarily hurts, because it probably got him in the door. But what do you think?
I think that there was a very gifted impressionist that went on to have an okay career. His name was Jim Carrey. And the way that Jim Carrey came about, he first landed on the scene when he was doing like the Comedy Store and other venues in the mid-'80s. He was basically an impressionist, and he'd go up there and he would murder doing impressions. Like, he would do Jack Nicholson, Charles Bronson, a lot of great impressions. He went on the road with Rodney Dangerfield, and Rodney Dangerfield is one of the coolest comics ever to young comedians because he allowed Jim Carrey to say, hey, look, I don't want to do the impressions anymore because I'm not growing as a comic. I'm not going to grow as an actor if I just keep doing these other characters. So Jim Carrey went on to like bomb for 2 years in a row because he wasn't relying on the impressions anymore. He was relying on just being himself, and I think that helped catapult him later in his career when he could bring back those talents he had and combine them with all the other comedian and actor chops that he had gained in the meantime.
I like that you brought up Jim Carrey because that's the difference between him and Costa. Jim Carrey would do exaggerated impressions. So if he was doing Jack Nicholson, you never for 1 second thought he was Jack Nicholson. He was making a bigger joke out of everything. All the impressions, Paul Lynde, a whole bunch of the guys who became famous for doing impressions weren't trying to become the actors that they were doing.
Like
they were
Dana Carvey doing George Bush.
Totally. Yeah. So you're and that's the difference that I see. He so inhabits Robin Williams that it's like I don't feel that it truly is just an impression, and it's not. I don't see. It's different. It's like he's doing a good impression. I don't know if he's a good actor. It's hard to tell. Like he's really good at mimicking Robin Williams, and that he looks a little bit like Robin Williams helps. So, but I mean,
it does. And you bring up, but the funny thing is too, even if because Robin Williams is the one he's known for. But you look at like when he does Owen Wilson or Christopher Walken, same thing. He becomes these dudes. Like it's.
I gotta see that Kurt Russell, man.
Yeah, it's
you
good.
know. It's. I mean, if they did, maybe he should just try doing like a YouTube show with him doing like dressing up, doing some of those kind of impressions. It would just be different than a comedy impression. That's my thing.
He auditioned for Young Solo. Yeah, because he does. He's another guy. He does a Harrison Ford, and but you know, it's.
What if we get him in a room with a monkey, right?
Oh my God! Just call it Costa Monkey.
All right, what's next? No, Yes, I know that Jim Carrey and Gary Oldman are not dead. All right, next.
Okay. Nicholas Pepe writes, hi all, my question is in regards to Ben Affleck and Batman v Superman. Everybody seems to be sold on him as Batman, and for the most part I agree. However, nobody seems to be talking about how he will do portraying Bruce Wayne. Do you think he'll pull off the character of Bruce Wayne as well as he seems to be pulling off Batman? After all, they are two different characters entirely. You guys rock and keep up the great work.
Schnepp.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think he's totally failing at Bruce Wayne. Just kidding. No, it's come on. Just watching those trailers, all you really saw in the first few trailers is him as Bruce Wayne and that smoldering Batman. That is basically Bruce Wayne is Batman. So if you like him as Batman, he is Bruce Wayne, vice versa. I think he's going to be great in both roles as one guy.
Yeah, it was more of that darkness that Bruce Wayne already has. Like when we met Michael Keaton, he had already been Batman for a while in the story, so you get to see all the stuff that he's dealing with, all that baggage. You get the same kind of tone from Ben Affleck. So I think he's going to be a great Bruce Wayne and a great Batman. And I can't wait to find out if I'm right.
I think he's going to be the Bruce Wayne part was the part, and I've said this when they first announced him, I was like, Ben Affleck is Batman. I don't know, and it wasn't really the Bruce Wayne thing because I feel like he can take the playboy rich dude. He can do that because he does that in his real life, and he's able to pull that into his performance. And I think that was something I knew he was going to be able to do. For what we've seen so far in the trailer, yeah, he's going to nail Bruce Wayne, and from what I've seen so far in the trailers, it looks like he nails Batman. Mm-hmm. So I have high hopes for him as both Batman and Bruce Wayne. All right, that's today's show. Don't worry, we'll get to your live Twitter questions tomorrow. Sorry, short show today, but I would like to thank the guys and lady at the table today. First, Mr. John Schnepp, where can I find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Check out my Kickstarter Sweaty Tonight. Bye.
And Mr. Mark Ellis, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Comedy Store this Saturday night. Get tickets at markellislive.com. I'll be on stage with a monkey baby. Come see it.
And she'll be watching George R.R. Martin videos later. Natasha Martinez, where can I find you?
Nope. All right, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter, @NatashaLexis_.
You got some pictures?
Yeah.
And for me, you can find me at Kristian Harloff, Twitter, Instagram. A lot of great stuff coming up here on Collider. Make sure that if you haven't already, make sure that you hashtag Schmodown. Who's going to win between Dan Murrell and John Campea? We're going to read some of your tweets off when that match happens on March 25th. So start doing that today. Also, Jedi Council. Check out the trailer reaction videos that we have. We're going to WonderCon, which is happening this weekend. Make sure you check us out there. A lot of great stuff happening. Check Collider video. Well, next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend. So they yell at me here. Thank you guys, and tune in tomorrow. We'll be back. Great.
I'll be back too.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.